What is human nature? The question, what is human nature, is among the oldest and most consequential inquiries in philosophy, psychology, and spiritual reflection. It is not merely an abstract concern, it shapes how we understand identity, morality, society, and purpose. To approach this question meaningfully, one must move beyond superficial definitions and examine the layered structure of human existence: biological, psychological, social, and ultimately conscious or spiritual. Drawing on the insights suggested from Nature of Man and Society, particularly the reflections implied in Chapter 4, Nature of Man ebook, What Am I? Chapter 10, The Nature of the Human Being, and 11, further on the nature of the human being, human nature can be understood not as a fixed attribute, but as a dynamic interplay between essence and expression. The foundational question, what am I? At the core of any exploration of human nature lies a fundamental inquiry: what am I? This question precedes all others because it directs attention inward toward the immediate experience of being. Before identity is constructed through memory, social roles, or cultural conditioning, there exists a more primary state of awareness, pure consciousness. This is the state one briefly encounters upon waking, before the mind reconstructs the familiar narrative of self. In that moment, there is awareness without content, presence without identity. This suggests that, at the deepest level, human nature is not reducible to personality, history, or even thought, but is rooted in consciousness itself. From this perspective, the human being is not merely a physical organism or a psychological construct, but a conscious presence expressing itself through these mediums. The body and mind become instruments through which a deeper reality operates. The dual structure, biological and conscious dimensions. Human nature can be understood as having at least two primary dimensions. 1. The biological organism. 2. The conscious or experiential self. The biological dimension. Biologically, human beings are products of evolution. The body, brain, and nervous system have developed over millions of years to ensure its survival and reproduction. This biological inheritance shapes instincts, drives, and basic behaviors. The drive for survival, self-preservation, reproductive impulses, emotional responses such as fear, aggression, and attachment, neurological reward systems that reinforce certain behaviors. These elements are not unique to humans. They are shared with other animals. However, in humans, they are integrated with higher cognitive functions, allowing for reflection, planning, and abstraction. This dimension includes the ability to observe thoughts and emotions, the sense of I am, independent of specific roles, the capacity for introspection and self-inquiry, the experience of meaning, purpose, and transcendence. Chapter 10 and 11, Nature of Man ebook, as suggested, emphasize that the human being is not fully defined by biological processes. Rather, there is a deeper substratum of being that is often overlooked because attention is habitually directed outwards. Biological versus cultural influences. These are universal and relatively stable. Emotional predispositions, for example, fear of danger, basic needs, food, shelter, reproduction, cognitive capacities, language acquisition, pattern recognition. Cultural influences. These vary widely across societies. Norms and values, what is considered right or wrong, social roles and expectations, belief systems, including religion and ideology, language and symbolic frameworks. Culture can amplify, suppress, or redirect biological impulses. For example, aggression may be channeled into competitive sports in one culture and discouraged entirely in another. Similarly, cooperative tendencies may be reinforced through social institutions. Importantly, culture also shapes identity. The sense of who I am is largely constructed through social interaction, yet this constructed identity can obscure the deeper, more fundamental nature of consciousness itself. Moral instincts, innate or acquired. A critical component of human nature is morality. Are humans inherently moral, or is morality imposed by society? Evidence suggests that moral instincts have both biological and cultural roots. Innate moral tendencies. Research in developmental psychology indicates that even young children display empathy, concern for others' distress, fairness, preference for equitable distribution, altruism, willingness to help without reward. These tendencies suggest that morality is not entirely learned, but is embedded in human nature to some degree. From an evolutionary standpoint, such traits enhance group survival. Cultural refinement. While basic moral intuitions may be innate, their expression is shaped by culture. Definitions of justice vary across societies. Ethical systems, for example, religious codes, legal frameworks, formalize moral behavior. Socialization reinforces acceptable conduct. Thus, morality emerges from an interaction between instinct and structure. However, from a deeper perspective, morality may also be linked to awareness itself. As consciousness becomes more refined, there is often a natural movement towards compassion, clarity, and responsibility. Social behavior, the relational nature of humans. Human beings are inherently social. This is not merely a preference, but a structural aspect of human nature. Evolutionary basis. Early humans depended on group cooperation for survival. This led to the development of communication systems, language, social bonding mechanisms, trust, loyalty, hierarchical and cooperative structures, psychological dimension. Social interaction contributes to identity formation. We understand ourselves through others. Emotional regulation. Relationships influence well-being. Meaning, purpose is often derived from contribution and connection. Cultural expression. Different societies organize social behavior in different ways. Individualistic cultures emphasize autonomy. Collectivist cultures prioritize group harmony. Despite these variations, the underlying need for connection remains constant. The tension within human nature. One of the most significant insights into human nature is the presence of internal tension. Humans often experience conflict between different aspects of themselves. Instinct versus reason. Self-interest versus altruism. Conditioning versus awareness. This tension arises because human nature operates on multiple levels simultaneously. The biological impulses may drive one direction, while cultural expectations impose another, and deeper awareness points towards yet another. This internal complexity is not a flaw, but a defining characteristic. It creates the possibility for growth, transformation, and self-understanding toward an integrated understanding. To fully grasp human nature, one must integrate its various dimensions. 1. Biological, the physical and instinctual foundation. 2. Psychological, the domain of thought, emotion, and identity. 3. Social, the relational and cultural context. 4. Conscious, the underlying awareness that makes experience possible. An overemphasis on any one dimension leads to distortion. For example, reducing humans to biology ignores meaning and consciousness. Focusing only on culture overlooks innate tendencies. Identifying solely with thought neglects deeper awareness. A balanced perspective recognizes that human nature is not static, but evolving. It is both conditioned and capable of transcending its conditioning. Conclusion. Human nature cannot be captured by a single definition. It is a multidimensional reality that encompasses the biological, the cultural, the moral, the social, and the conscious. At its surface, it appears as a complex interplay of instincts and behaviors shaped by evolution and society. At a deeper level, it reveals itself as a field of awareness within which all experience arises. The question, what is human nature, ultimately leads back to the question, what am I? And in pursuing this inquiry, one moves from external description to direct understanding. Human nature, then, is not merely something to be defined, it is something to be realized. Nigel Gittins is the author of Nature of Man and Society, Complete Edition, which explores the philosophical foundations of human behavior and social order. The ebook is available at the link in the profile, bio, description. Please like, share, and comment on this article. Thanks.